One of the questions we could ask the readings today is how to overcome spiritual jealousy, spiritual envy. St. John of the Cross speaks of two levels of the 7 capital sins. The first level is more when you are beginning your spiritual life. The second level comes when you begin to advance. So, for example, you could suffer the sin of gluttony when you begin to advance, and it will mean drinking more than you should or eating more than what you should. But when you begin to advance spiritual life, we could speak of a spiritual sin of gluttony, basically wanting more of spiritual consolations, never being satisfied with what the Lord gives you. And that applies to almost all the 7 capital sins. And that's why it also applies to the sin of envy. As you know, the definition of envy is to become sad for the success of someone you love, or become joyful because of the failure of someone you love. And that basic level of envy could also be a spiritual envy, spiritual jealousy. The two stories of Joshua in the Old Testament and John in the New Testament are examples of spiritual jealousy. As you recall from the reading, Moses shared his spirit with 70 people in the Old Testament. And then 2 of them were not in the camp when the Spirit came, and they received the Spirit, and they begin to prophesy. And Joshua, the beloved disciple, who will take the people of God into the promised land, goes to Moses and says, "Moses, prevent them. Eldad and Medad, they are prophesying." And Moses says, "No, I wish everyone will be a prophet." And similarly, John, the beloved disciple, the gospel begins with that important fact that the one who speaks to Jesus is John. I missed that line when I read first, but John says, this man is expelling demons, performing mighty deeds. We try to prevent him because he does not follow us. And Jesus says, no, do not prevent him. There is no one who performs a mighty deed in my name who can at the same time speak ill of me. So don't stop him. Both John and Joshua were preventing the work of God by stopping these people who were doing good. Maybe they felt threatened by the goodness and the ministry that these people were doing. And that can happen to us. Many times, as a Christian, you can become threatened by the goodness of others. You can become jealous when other people grow more than you. Not only in your spiritual life, but in general. The success of others, the thriving of others, the flourishment of others can make you kind of sad or down or feel inferior. And this applies to a spiritual life. Also, when someone seems to be growing more than you, someone is called to do more things than you, someone maybe speak better than you, someone does ministry better than you, you might feel less because of their success. And that's what we call spiritual envy. And it's very dangerous because one holds you back, and 2, it separates you from those who are doing good. Spiritual envy has like a threefold blindness implicit in it. 1, when you suffer spiritual envy or any type of envy, you forget that it is the Lord who is working through that brother or that sister. When you suffer envy, the person you envy is kind of your enemy. And you forget this reality that it is the Lord who is using that person as an instrument. Think of Joshua. He forgot that it was the spirit of Moses at work in Eldad and Medad. he forgot that they were working in the name of God. They were prophesying in the spirit of Moses. So that's the first blindness of envy. The second blindness of envy is blindness to the mission, blindness to the need. Envy kind of opposes Christians among themselves. And instead of focusing in the outside enemy, the world, the flesh, unbelief, lack of respect of human dignity, and so on and so forth, instead of focusing in the mission, we turn inward. We turn against each other and begin to fight among themselves. So we become blind to the mission and we begin to fight among us. And this is very dangerous because it steals energy from the mission. It causes inner fights and inner divisions that diminish the force of the mission of the church. Think of John. He saw this man expelling demons. That was a great thing. This man was liberating people from the power of Satan. And John goes very proud to Jesus and says, Lord, don't worry. We tried to prevent him. You just trust in us. We are good here. And Jesus says, John, what are you doing? Do not prevent him. We need all the help we need. The mission is great. The need is great. Moses says, what are you doing, Joshua? I wish everyone will be a prophet. The enemy is not inside. The enemy are the enemies of the people of Israel. And that's why envy is so dangerous, because the world needs a church that is united. And if we waste energy fighting among ourselves, the mission of the church is weakened. And that's never good. And that's why it is so encouraging to see the greatness both of Moses and the greatness of heart of Jesus. Both have their eyes on the mission. They're not fighting among themselves. And the third blindness is the blindness to your own mission and your own skills. When you suffer envy, when you suffer spiritual jealousies because of the success of others, the goodness of other people makes you feel less and makes you blind both to your own mission and your own skills. Think of Joshua, the main disciple of Moses and the one chosen by God to lead the people of God into the promised land. When he saw these two men prophesying, he might have felt less. But he was forgetting that, yes, these two people are prophesying, but God also needed him to lead the people of God in that promised land. And even worse, think of John, whom the gospel calls him the beloved disciple. Of the 12, he was in the inner circle of the 3, and of the inner circle of the 3, he was number 1. And he feels threatened because this person is casting out demons. So he became blind to his own mission, and even worse, to the love, the friendship of his Lord. So how to overcome this blindness? 3 concrete things. 1, whenever you see someone doing good, whenever you feel a movement of envy inside of you, give thanks to God for that person, for the skills, for the success, but above all, because of the fact that the Lord is at work in that person. That's a great antidote to envy. You just say, thank you, Lord. Thank you because this person is great. He's my brother, he's my sister. And I thank you because he or she is doing so good to your people. I thank you for this group in the parish. I thank you for this group in the church, that they are advancing, growing, and even This helps if it is not spiritual jealousy, the one that you suffer. If you are in the first level of jealousy, all these things apply as well. Don't just space out, like say, no, I'm in the first level of jealousy. Just give thanks. If your coworker gets a promotion and you don't, it hurts. But say, thank you, Lord. You're blessing him or her more than me. That's fine. This person is not my enemy. Second, always, spiritual tradition has said the best way to overcome envy is to emulate. To emulate means to imitate. When you see someone doing great things, someone even better than you in many things, just don't be threatened or don't get down for their goodness, their superiority. Try to imitate them. Try to maybe see what you can learn from them and be more like them. So their goodness will elevate you, not push you down. And finally, remember the word beloved. You can say, I am John. I am the beloved disciple. When you feel a movement of envy and maybe you feel less than someone else, maybe you feel inferior or you feel you are not good enough, remember, I am also loved. I am the beloved disciple. The heart of God is not like a cheesecake that if you take one piece, I get less, or if you take another piece, you get less. The heart of God is like the sun. If it shines upon you, doesn't mean that it will shine less upon you. And that's how the love of Christ is for each one of us. If it shines upon me, it also shines upon you. And the fact that it's shining upon you doesn't mean that he loves you less. And that's very profound. When you feel that movement of envy, remember that you are loved, that you are John, that you are beloved. We're experiencing a very divisive time in our church and in our nation. We need to stay together. We need to fight the good fight together. We need to see our brothers and sisters as brothers and sisters. The mission is great. The need is great. Stay united. Keep your eyes on your mission.